Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back today with a sit down video, and I'm just going to be talking about my different birth experiences. As you guys both know, like I recently had my third child, and with all of my three kids, I gave birth at three different types of institutions. But before we get into that, cue my intro. Yeah, so guys, I'll just go into I'll just summarize my different types of birth and like how it all went down. So with my first one, I gave birth in Pietermaritzburg in a private hospital there. And you know how private hospitals are, you have to pre-book a bed before your birth, so they normally use your estimated due date to actually book your bed for that day. And then they just wait for you like for spontaneously, but then should nothing happens, then inducing and whatever, C-section, whatever would be happening next, depending on what your gynae says. So with her, I had a gynae. I booked my hospital bed for the 16th of December, but then I started saying, so I booked I booked my bed and was ready. So on the 14th, that's when I started having contractions, and it was in the evening around 6. So went back home, prepared, whatever, bath, eat. Well, for me, something that's been common throughout is every time I'm in labor, I eat normally. I don't have any nausea. I don't have any vomiting. So I ate, took a shower, packed up my stuff, and headed for the hospital. So when I got there, they just checked through. They checked through my file because I'd opened a file, and went to the bed that was booked for me. When I got there, the maternity ward, luckily, there was hardly anyone. There was me and another lady who had given birth by C-section, so I was the only one who was in active labor who went in there that evening. So when we got there, got into my bed, changed into everything, and my mom was allowed into my room and my husband. And then we were good to go, and then they just checked how far I was, and I think with Nesne I got there I was like 4 centimeters. So so I was put in bed. They didn't really initiate anything with exercising, whatever. I was just in bed, and then I was connected to a drip, and I think I was given something for pain because I was really in a lot of pain, and I asked for something. So I'm not really sure if I got something or I didn't, because I didn't feel the effectiveness of like the pain relief. But so I got whatever. You never know, it was really an injection or they give you I forgot now what they call it, but like the fake medication. What's the word? If I remember, it'll pop up somewhere on the screen. And then it was just a waiting game. I fell in and out of sleep as I was progressing, and then around 2 a.m., then that's when they checked me, and I was about 10 centimeters. At that point, my husband and my mom went out, and I felt a bit overcrowded. There were quite a lot of nurses in the delivery room, but they were all very caring. They all wanted to help in some way or the other. I guess the fact that wasn't anyone else who was in labor, so like the whole staff was looking after me. So there was someone rubbing me, someone offering me water, or whatever the case was, and we had to wait for my gynae to come for me to deliver. So I tried waiting. By the time that I felt like the urge of pushing, my gynae got there. And then I didn't push for that long, but then I started, I just heard like they're gonna cut me because they think I'm tired and the baby has to come out. And I didn't really know like how long, because the pushing phase gets a bit hectic. So I didn't know how long that lasts. So I was just like, okay, whatever, that's gonna make this quicker, because at the end of the day, I just wanted to meet my baby. So yeah, next minute I was cut. I'll put the like scientific word of what that procedure is called. So I was cut, and then the next minute, I was told that they're gonna use forceps to get the baby out. I didn't know what that was, but I was just like, whatever. As long as the baby's gonna come out, they can just do whatever. So they used forceps, and the baby came out, and I made my baby girl at 03:45, a quarter to 4 in the morning, and that was my experience in a private hospital. I stayed one more day there, just to, my child took a bit long, like my milk took a while to come out, so her first feed was actually formula. But then by the time I went out, everything was out. I had my stool. She had a stool. So I had to get stitches. So with my first pregnancy, I had to get stitches, but I necessarily don't feel like I should have gotten them. But the fact that I didn't know what was really going on and how long it would take, I sort of just said yes to whatever I was being told. 4 years later, I was pregnant with my second daughter, and I was no longer on medical aid, so I had to weigh my options. So I found a, ooh, bless you, baby, bless you, my boy. So I had to weigh my options, and I found a birthing center that was in Mthatha, and quite affordable, I must say. They charged me 5,000 rands for the entire birth, and then if should I had any emergencies, then they're going to transfer me to a private hospital if I was willing to pay the funds, or I was going to be transferred to a public hospital for an emergency section should I have needed one. But luckily I didn't. So with this one, sorry about that. With this one, I had my contractions early in the morning. I had to prepare everything by the time my due date was about to come. I gave birth to this one a bit overdue. I think I was 42 weeks when I gave birth. And when I got there, I contractions started early in the morning, around 4 a.m. And I got to the birthing center around 12 to 1 in the afternoon. I got there, got checked urine, whatever, all those things, they checked everything, booked me into my bed, and I had to sit with my husband. Since now I was more experienced, like I kind of knew, and I was reading up a lot more, and whatever I was reading on, I kind of knew like what was going on, so I was a bit more calmer. So me and my husband stayed in our labor room, and like the nurse was just a bell away. So when I came in, they checked me. I was about 3 centimeters, I think, and yeah. But like from morning until the time I got there, my progression was very slow. I was very lazy with that pregnancy. I was very tired. I slept a lot. So yeah, my progression felt a bit dragged. But yeah, everything progressed nicely. And then around 6 a.m., they checked it up. 6 p.m., I was about 6 centimeters. And I couldn't take it anymore. It was hectic. I asked for medication. It felt like it was not working. So I was like, you know what? I need to take a bath. And they were very open, Shem. I won't lie. They were very open with allowing me to do whatever I felt like was more comfortable for me. And I went, they ran a bath for me. They put, all these disinfectants for me to jump into the water, and they let me do it. And like I kind of felt like I was not at 6 centimeters, because it felt very hectic. So I jumped into my tub with my husband. I felt a contraction on the second one. I felt the urge of pushing, so I went out of the tub and went back to the bed. And by then, I delivered my baby girl. The experience was very comfortable. Through my pushing phase, they guided me through everything, because I literally pushed twice and the baby was out. They assisted me. They were very nice. They were not mean or anything like that. It was a very, very comfortable experience. We stayed overnight, and the next morning, pediatrician checked me and the baby, and I was checked, and everything was good, and I was good to go. So the birthing center experience was also very comfortable. I guess the fact that I also knew what was going on, I sort of made very informed decisions on what I wanted to do and stuff like that. Yeah. And then with my last one, it got tricky. So with the lockdown and stuff, I was prepared to go back to the birthing center, but then now with the lockdown and stuff, I had to weigh my options whether did I want to go home and then end up being stuck that side should the lockdown continue, or I was gonna give birth here now. But then now hospitals here are much more expensive, and I hadn't budgeted to spend like 20 grand for me to push my own child out of myself. So I was just like, no, you know what, I'm gonna go the public hospital route. Did that. I was a bit overdue, so when I went to the doctor, he got me a letter just to make sure that like if I don't deliver in time, then I would have to have whether they induce me or plan a C-section, whatever would be the best option. But before then, I got my contractions and it was good to go. You know, this time, like this birth, it was like my last birth was I felt very empowered, because I had so much anxiety throughout the whole thing. When it actually happened, I was much more calmer. I felt like I would just get through it, everything would be fine, So my contractions started early in the morning, prepared, I think as you guys have seen my birthing vlog. But yeah, I was much calmer. I was eating still as normal throughout like my contractions and stuff. And around 5 p.m. that's when I left home and I went for the hospital. I got there, I won't lie, the staff was about to change, and I guess because, sorry Nana, sorry Papa. I guess because everyone was like so busy. It was a very busy night. I think about 40 of us gave birth that evening. So everyone was just busy. Like they were changing of shifts, and it took time for them to actually, sign me into the maternity ward. But I already collected my file. But then anyway, I sat there until around the bench, like just waiting. They just checked my file, and then the nurse would just say, okay, I'm coming. But because I just, I had mentally prepared myself for the worst, I just sat there. I was just like, you know what? I know when my baby is coming. I would just have to say something when that happens. So I sat through my contractions, and it was really, really, really hectic. But anyway, around 9 p.m., a nurse came. The sweetest nurse I've ever dealt with. She came and she was like, okay, come, sissy. I went and she started checking my urine, checked all these things, and I jumped onto the scan, checked the baby's breathing and everything, heartbeat, whatever. And then she checked me to see how far I was, and she said I was 6 centimeters. Fine, sorry, Baba. Okay, guys, just a second. My Nana wants to eat. No. Okay, so they checked and 6 centimeters, and I asked. She was very open. She was a very open nurse. Normally in public hospitals, they know not to answer any questions, and especially if it's not your first child, they don't really want to answer your questions. She was very open. I was like, how far I was, how long did she think it would take me? She was like, judging from the book, it would take me about 4 hours to get to 10 to start pushing, but you never know. So I stayed there for 20 minutes monitoring my baby's heartbeat. And then she was like, no, now let's move you into the birthing ward because you might be giving birth soon. So I moved to the birthing ward. When I got there, she broke my water. I think it was like 9:30, 9:45. She broke my water, and within 15 minutes, I felt the urge of pushing. So I was like, no, nurse, like I feel something. She was like, just let me know, shout my name when you feel like something is happening. I called the nurse. And really the baby was coming, and voila, baby was pushed out and everything was perfectly fine. She explained everything she was doing me, got my injections, and I felt very part of the process, and everything went perfectly fine. And after that, we were moved into the ward, and the following day, we were checked by the pediatrician. I was checked by my gynae, and everything was fine, and we went home. So for me, I have to say I haven't really had any bad birthing experiences, and I've given birth in 3 different types of institutions in South Africa. And I guess with my third, I was really scared because the things that you hear that happen in public hospitals, you're always expecting the worst. And I won't lie, I got the best experiences in all of these places. Misinformation and me not knowing much and lacking experience made my first pregnancy a bit difficult. But with my second and third, I never had any cuts, so I had no stitches, and it was great. So yeah, I hope I gave you guys information on different types of institutions to give birth in. And don't be scared to ask if you don't know anything from all of this. All I can advise is don't be scared to ask if you don't understand. Make sure that you understand completely what you're being told and what's going to happen to your body before you say yes to anything, because at the end of the day, you're going to live with that decision of whatever happens to you. Yeah. Those was my birthing experiences, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was as informative as it could be. And yeah, love you guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's s_nyoni. Please also follow my family Instagram page. It's the Nyonis. And also follow me on Facebook at esetukahane nyoni. Love you lots. Mwah.